Good morning. How you doing?
Doing good. Thank you for asking. Thanks as always for joining us. As a reminder to members of the media on the call, please press star one at this time to get in the queue to ask questions for head coach Neal Brown of Troy. Coach, before we get started with that, the open week came for you last week. What did you accomplish during the open week as you prepare for UMass?
Well, this open week was totally different than our last. We're in a weird piece of our schedule here where we play two games in a 28-day window. So we had our bye week before Georgia State, and we really used that one to kind of refresh our body, refresh our mind. This one, last week, we really used to concentrate on ourselves and get better. Feel like we got to continue getting better. We're 6-1. We're in a good spot, but I don't think us in our current state is going to be good enough to reach our goals. We've got to continue to get better. So we took that time to do that. Toward the end of the week, we started looking at UMass a little bit.
And, Coach, your thoughts on the Minutemen as you head into Saturday's game?
Well, I think they're a team that's really improving. They've played a tough schedule as an independent. They've gone and played in some tough venues, so they're not going to be intimidated coming in here by any means. They're really well coached. They're a group on offense that's totally different than anybody we've played. The head coach calls the plays there, runs the offense, and I think he's gifted. I think he does a really good job. They put you in a bind in a bunch of different ways. The quarterback is starting to really come into his own. He's a lefty. He throws the ball downfield well. And then we got a tight end, Brenneman, who I think is really talented, who I think is a guy that can play at the next level. And they've thrown the ball and hit big plays against everybody from Florida on. And then defensively, they give you a lot of different looks. They're multiple. They've created a lot of negative plays this year. And they've got one of the better punters in the country. So they're a team that's getting better. I think the record's deceiving just because of the schedule they played. Last year they showed a lot of improvement down the stretch, and I think you're seeing the same thing this time.
All right, Coach, we'll go to our first questions from Brett Stretlow with the Winston-Salem Journal.
Hey, Coach, it just seems like about in any sport now there's more turnover of kids either transferring in and out of programs or out of programs. Can you share your philosophy a little bit about finding that right mix of traditional high school guys and transfers of just kind of how you like to build a roster?
Well, I think each situation is unique. We've had a lot of success here, taking some transfers, a mix of junior college and Division I. I think you got to always be careful. I think your base, your locker room, always needs to be more high school kids than anything else because they're here for 4 and 5 years. And those are the guys that are really passing on your culture. So I think, and that's one of the negatives that happened to Troy through some down years, is too much relying on transfers, and the locker room and the culture of winning didn't get passed on. So we're always going to be cognizant of that here.
Well, you mentioned the history of that success or just that turn into that route. Why do you think that's been the case, and how did that get turned around to that kind of little part you mentioned there of that culture getting changed?
Well, I think what happens is a lot of times transfers, junior college transfers especially, are easy fixes. And if you have success, then sometimes you immediately go to that. But I think you always got to build your football team with high school guys. And you got to really concentrate on development. And that's what we've made the decision to do is our main focus is going to be on high school recruiting, especially in the state of Alabama and Panhandle of Florida and South Georgia. So we're going to put most of our time and effort there. And then we're always going to add pieces, whether it's a 4-year transfer or a junior college transfer, that complement our team, but we're not going to be dependent on those. And you can see, early on we had to take some junior college guys that were positions in need. Like, for instance, we took a couple junior college transfers at corner in my first class here because we only had one corner on our roster. We did the same at linebacker because we only had 2 scholarship linebackers on the roster. So sometimes you take guys out of necessity. I think the further we go along in our program, you're going to see more and more high school kids in our signing class. Next year will be a little bit different because in your recruiting class you got 5 classes. You got a redshirt class and you got your normal freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. And next year, our sophomore class is extremely small. We've only got 6 kids in that sophomore class, so we're going to add some junior college transfers, and maybe if 4-year transfers are available, we're going to add some in that class because I don't believe you ever want to have a senior class that has less than 10. So we're going to be intentional about adding those numbers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. Coach, before we let you go, your program is again receiving points in both the AP and USA Today Coaches Poll Top 25, actually improved from last week. What does that really say about your program as you head into this week's game?
Well, I think it's, like I said, proud of what we're doing. People are taking notice. It's been a long time since we played, so it's important for us to get back out there and put a showing together that gets the coaches and the AP voters' attention. And you know, we can't control how they vote. All we can control is how we play and winning the games on the field. And the more we win, the more votes we're going to get, and our guys understand that. So we've got to continue to get better, and if we do that and continue to win games, then we're going to continue to see our vote total grow.
All right, Coach. Thanks as always for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
All right, thanks.